that we have in there can be certainly be struck.
Okay. And that's probably something we need to do while we're going through.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll be here all night.
Yeah, I make a motion that we take that part out.
Okay, everybody all right with that?
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, everybody consensus? Okay.
Because you're amending it as noticed, so if you could take a vote on the motion as it goes. So we know that you're basically amending the ordinance under consideration to eliminate the special exception for
We have a
sounds.
motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Next, a maximum of 2 non-resident employees shall be permitted. 1 non-lit panel sign, the maximum.
Hold on, Tom.
Once again, taking into account what we're talking about, often you'd use more than 2 people to help you unload a trailer. So I think we're maximizing. You're not gonna have 10 people sitting around all day long, but you might get 3 or 4 people to help you do the unloading. So I don't think, once again, I don't see the public purpose. You know, I really think this is not about the usual. You know, we started out with very simple things, trying to facilitate something, and now we're trying to tweak every little part of how people do business. That's not our job. But,
Rob?
Right now, a lot of people are looking for work out there. We got high school kids looking for work, and I noticed that there's a lot of high school kids that work for these mom and pop businesses, the Red Barn, etc. To tell people that they can't work there because they're a limit of 2, we don't need stuff like that. The more people that can get a job around Loxahatchee Groves or in Loxahatchee Groves, the better I like it.
Yeah, the only reason I included this in there is that's similar to some existing code provisions we have for residential enterprises, that's all. So I want to be consistent with the residential code, and I certainly don't have any strong feelings either way.
make a motion that we remove that.
Second.
Motion, second by Rob. Any further discussion?
Yeah, one thing, Jim pointed out that we have other home-based businesses that we make that put limitation in and sort of model that. I think there's certainly some difference that Tom points out if you have somebody there helping unload. I mean, in my case, they're going to truck load, I don't get any helpers, they just tell them to truck the load, but hay is part of the nation, maybe I don't know if the trucks that are coming out here for that kind of product aren't coming out with the automated process where they bring their own loader and back up and drop it off. So I'm a little hesitant to alter what we have in other areas unless we need to. The question is, if we really need, if you have people that are there living there, usually this is auxiliary use, and they're doing it not as a major business, this is an auxiliary use, that when they have somebody come and drop those supplies or materials, I don't know that they would exceed if it's 2 living there and 2 employees. Is that where we are at this point? Residents plus employees?
Yes.
I would think that would be sufficient to cover even the delivery truck, and would be consistent with the other areas. If we start this change, unless it's something that somebody here that is actually subject to this ordinance can tell us that that won't work, then I would be open to change it based on that input.
Okay.
I was just going to say, Mayor, one of the changes that Jim and I were talking about that we could do, that we could either say 2 full-time or 2 part-time, whatever the case may be, to denote that they're there helping the mom and pop establishment. Understand one thing, we're using the terminology that it's a mom and pop use, but then if you have a whole ton of employees, you start to not really have a mom and pop use. So that's just a warning in terms of the ordinance itself.
I think we have to understand what's going on. We're talking about unloading a trailer for an hour and a half. Nobody employs people to sit around and not do anything unless it's an extremely profitable business. So I don't anticipate 50 people sitting around in a hay place all pretending they're working there. And, they don't, if 50 people want to sit in a hay place, they can do it, they don't have to pretend they're working there. So the idea that we're somehow keeping the riffraff down or something like that, I don't understand. I don't understand why we'd be against people employing people. I don't understand why, when we're making an entire gigantic 9-page exception to everything, we want to pretend like this is an exception. So You know, this entire thing is an exception, done for this purpose. So if that's what we're doing, we ought to at least make sure that it makes sense relative to the hay sales business, and not pretend that it's something else or a hangout, and it's not. It's something that is being done, I understand, because there's a need, and we need to have as many of these as the economy will allow, and there won't be any more. So I don't understand the nitpicking on limiting people when they're trying to do business. I think it's what causes resentment to government, especially to this town, because people just want to do their job. They just want to do their business, and they don't want interference for bureaucrats, and this is really ridiculous.
All right, you had somebody at least volunteer to say, at least comment on the I'd rather hear from people.
I agree with what you say. You know, we are a hay business, and we don't employ anyone. We have people come in and unload the trailers. It takes 3 hours. It can take 4 people, but then they're gone. You know, we don't employ them. It's like day labor. So, no, to limit us to 2 people would be ridiculous, because that'd be me and my husband. We'd never be able to do it.
Well,
Some trailer, some loads, you only have a door window 3 hours, you have to unload it, or it's 150 every hour after that.
Okay.
So, I mean,
So you would
keep
need
people
one-
there, it's gonna be on payroll, it's ridiculous, you don't wanna pay them and get them out of there.
Okay, we're a little out of procedure, because normally we bring you up and have you speak, but, all right, Ron?
I don't think we need to be comparing any other type of mom and pop business to this. We need to take care of one problem at a time. We've said our ULDCs is not perfect. We'll be making changes. If there's another mom and pop business of a different sort that will come, we may be making changes on it. Now, I would think that our legal counsel, if he thought that we were out of line or in trouble of having too many workers and stuff, that since we've been working on this for a while, that he would pitch in and say, hey, you know, we better stick it to half a dozen employees, otherwise you're gonna run into trouble. So no, we need to quit nitpicking, concentrate on this one subject and get it done.
Okay, we're gonna make a motion, Tom? Or did you make a motion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? That we strike this paragraph for the 2 employees.
There's no limit on no limit on
Right.
number of people.
On this particular one. All right, we have a motion, a second. Further discussion on this? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
So J is, no, sorry, yeah, J is out.
Okay, the next item is that each business shall be allowed to have one non-lit panel sign of a maximum of 12 square feet. In talking to some of the business owners, signage is not necessarily necessary for the businesses themselves, because they eventually become known and have repeat customers. However, the principal reason for the sign is the hours of operation. These businesses generally are part-time supplemental income businesses, and the property owners, as far as I know, would appreciate the notice being given as to when they're going to be available to sell a hay. So it's primarily for hours of operation when the sale will take place.
And this is on their property, right?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, the next is the limitation on the hours of operation of the business, and we're proposing 8 to 8, 5 days a week, 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock on Saturdays, and no sales on Sundays. And finally, we're stating that the existing uses operating on the effective date of the ordinance may continue. And that's essentially the terms of the ordinance.
All right, Ron?
Just show me a raise of hand Saturdays, 8 to 4, is that, most people, Saturdays and Sundays is sometimes the only time they have to go get paid. I know that some people don't even get there to open the hay business until maybe 5 in the afternoon after they've worked their regular job. I'd like to get a consensus of, I'd like to hear an opinion from the people that's actually in the business of what they can live with. Saturdays, I personally think should be like the days of the week. It's a work day. 8 to 8, I'd like to hear if they've got any concerns about Sundays. You know, there's certain businesses that I don't want in this town on Sundays. I don't want them bringing chipping and horse manure and stuff in on Sunday, okay? But some people cannot even get a chance to go buy hay until Sunday afternoon. So that's why I'd like to hear their concerns.
You want to make a motion?
Well, I need to see what's in for Sundays.
Joe, Mike,
Yeah, your name and address, name and address.
yeah, 3481 View Road. We do hours operation from 5 till 8 during the week. Gives people time on their way home to get hay for their animals since they've been working, you know, also. And Saturday, we usually go 9 to 5. It's not the daylight hours, you know, and they're still on. And Sundays, we usually close, we don't run on Sundays just for traffic.
All right, so you're all right with the times we have?
Yeah, Saturday would be better at 9 to 5 instead of 8 to 4, or 8 till 5. You know, gives you a full.
And I wouldn't have problems with Sunday afternoon either.
I mean, I don't know that anybody's got any problem with it if the person wants to open for that time. I don't know.
Like I said, I think we're over-regulating a very simple.
All right, we're going to put it in a form of motion.
I'll make a motion that they be allowed to sell on Saturdays from 8 to 5 and on Sundays from noon to 5.
Second.
Any further discussion by the council? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. All right. Sir.
Mayor, the recommended changes that Councilman Golson made are start on page 45 of 104 of your appendix package. And really, the changes, there are changes on pages 45, 46, 47, and 48. And the changes really relate to the ownership of the property in the business. Councilman Golson is suggesting that the owner of the business doesn't necessarily have to be the owner of the property, and that the operator of the business will run with the land and not with the ownership of the property.
The reason for this change really is just a philosophical change that only allowing a homestead people to do this kind of business limits property owners who may not be capable of doing this themselves, who could, however, make money on the property by renting it to somebody who could. And I don't really like the discrimination factor of pitting someone who rents property versus someone who owns property, or somebody who does live in the town, does not live in the town, owns land in the town, and all these back and forth that we go into. I just feel we should treat people evenly and fairly. And if you limit the approvals to just the particular operator, and you don't allow them to pass that on to their land, then once again, you limit the ability of someone to retire, or for somebody to pass it on to the next generation in their family, or, things that are not only desirable, but are really traditional if you're talking about a rural setting. You want to pass things on to maybe your kids to do this work, or you want to be able to put together a business that you can sell and take that opportunity of, having a retire. So purpose in it, I don't really see it, and I think everyone has broader, just the way to go. So, I can support the ordinance either way, but I would prefer to see it broader.
Okay. Any discussion on that, Ryan?
The only possible issue I see is that, and if we allow that, then there's no difference between a commercial operation operating anywhere within town when we've designated in certain areas to be commercial. If you want to be a commercial operation selling hay, be in a commercial area selling hay. There's a difference between it being an accessory use where the person's living on the property and they're selling hay to supplement their income versus someone who's doing it solely for their income. That's a commercial operation, in my opinion, and it shouldn't be allowed to be anywhere within the town when we've already stated that commercial is going to be within a certain area.
Jim?
We had, when this first came to us, I think one of the things, that at least I realized, the way we put the ULBCs together, the way we passed them, and we put this condition in there that if you have something that's unapproved, you have to come to us and tell us that you have such a thing and get some kind of variance. And we determined at that time that really was a walk in. So we were going back now and saying, okay, we know that there's, if you will, a cluster of this. And from what I understood, it was all owners of the property living here, and it was the accessory use, and we tried to focus on that particular problem that we had missed with ULBCs, like we were gonna focus on other things that we had missed. I'm understanding we put a set of ULBCs together for the town that we took a first pass at, so that we get rid of the county code and start our own, and now the process of customizing them to our community. So when we started down this path, it was people that were owners, resident, auxiliary use, and they found themselves, all of a sudden, somebody was giving them a fine, basically. And we said, that's not right. So that's what we're addressing. And I'm with Ryan, I think that's the issue we're trying to solve, and I think, unless I'm wrong, I don't know if there's anybody here that found themselves in a situation after renting property and trying to establish some kind of a commercial venture, but it's not auxiliary use. So we were fixing that, and I think that's what we've done. And I agree with what Ryan had said. So I think we leave it in there as we have, make the changes certainly that we've done, because those are things that did seem to hinder the operation. Again, we're trying to fix the problem, and we hinder the fix that we're trying to put in, not make it as good.
Anybody else? Ron?
I agree with Ryan and Jim. First of all, this was brought about because we got people. I feel like the people that live in Loxahatchee, they own the property, they're buying the property, they deserve every chance to survive with a hay business or whatever on their property. We've got a problem in Loxahatchee right now, and I'm not going to say what kind of problems they are, but we've got people that are leasing property in Loxahatchee to keep the owners from losing the property, but they're bringing garbage in Loxahatchee that's unbelievable. Okay, and my goal on this council is to stop people from bringing their trash into Loxahatchee, and I'm not saying hay and feed is trash, but I don't want people bringing stuff into Loxahatchee to make money off our town and not put anything back into the town. These people that own this property and have these businesses, they've got homestead, they're trying to survive. If we allow anybody, and I tell you right now, they would come in unbelievably. We hurt their businesses and stuff like that, and the Red Barn's already complained about hay business and stuff like that, so we would even make it worse on the Red Barn by doing something like that. So no, you have a right because you live here, you own the property, and you're trying to survive, to have a business to make it work. But no, I don't believe in people leasing the property to make money off Loxahatchee.
And I agree. I think it's important that we take care of our residents. If you know that your neighbor lives there and has that, extra business, he's still your neighbor, he's living there. And that's different from somebody coming in and leasing 10 acres next door to you, because they will never listen to you. They don't care, they don't live there. So anyway, I think it's important when a person lives there and entertain a motion as to which one of these, someone want to make a motion to accept one of these? Okay, Ron?
Jim, one question to you. My main concern, it sounds like it doesn't hurt the people that's in business right now, but does the change make it any more difficult for the landowners? And would it cost them any more?
The existing businesses? No.
All right. I'll entertain a motion, and then I've got some public comments.
I'll make a motion that we accept it as it is
Okay.
with the changes that we made.
Okay, the original one with the changes. Yes, sir. Second of that? Second by Jim. Further discussion by council. At Howard Bourne?
Howard Moore, E Road. I think it doesn't make any sense at all if you guys would go ahead and do this right before you form a ULDC committee. That's number one. Number two, this whole thing is very poorly thought out and is wrong right out of the gate. What we all wanted to do and what we all agreed to was to keep existing businesses that had been operating prior to incorporation and find a way to allow them all to stay here. It wasn't to write an ordinance that allowed a feed store to open up on every road in Loxahatchee. We have the Ike selling hay, we have Choquette with his business, we've got Billy Klein with his airboat business. All of these people need to be able to stay here, and I don't see why they all cannot be handled in one foul swoop. Have everybody come forward that has an existing business here that was in operation prior to incorporation, and stop legislating just for the sake of legislating and getting involved in all this minutia of what hours and how many people and who's allowed to be there and when. It's absolutely ridiculous. Again, agricultural sales. This is not agricultural sales. These are businesses that support agriculture. These are businesses that support farms. But they're not agricultural sales. It's not an agricultural sale unless you grow it or raise it on your property, and then you can sell it, and you don't need a permit from the town, from Palm Beach County, or anybody. Yes, we need people to sell hay, we need people to sell feed, but we are not going to call it agricultural sales. That's not the definition of in the Florida Constitution. You don't want to water down the definition of what agricultural products are. Agricultural sales is sales of agricultural products. None of these things are agricultural products. Now, you've sold this thing to the town who listens as we want to do it to allow hay sales. But then you add in every kind of feed and bedding and everything else. You want to do that? Fine, but that's not how it was sold to the town. Bottom line is, all these people need a way to stay here legally. You need to handle them all at once, so we don't have to start spending thousands of dollars writing ordinances for each individual mom and pop operation that's here. If you were here, come forward, go to the town council, and you'll all be handled in one foul swoop. And let's not call things what they're not. This is not agricultural sales.
Thank you, Howard. Martin McCabe?
Actually, coming about code violation on U Road.
Oh, I thought this was on this item, I'm sorry.
Well, it's also, there's a full piece of paper there.
What's that?
Use.
All right, for that one? All right, is it related to this, or you want to speak later? Okay. Todd McClendon?
I'd like clarification on what accessory use is and primary use, because when I had a code violation, I had made an agricultural business on the property, and it was considered a primary use. At what point would these people be considered a primary use? Because there is no kind of a gray area, kind of like clarification on that.
The principal use has to be a residence.
Okay, but when our town magistrate deemed on my property, I had two primary uses. One was the resident, and one was the agriculture business. So at what point could these hay sales become a primary use, even with the residence?
Well,
Well, the only criteria that we have in our code currently is that the accessory use asset has to be smaller physically on the property than the primary use. Now, that's not necessarily an ideal set of criteria, something that we might need to look at during the code revision, but that's all we have at this point.
So if someone had a 400 square foot house and they had 600 square feet of hay, then that would become the primary use.
Well, I suppose you could look at it that way. I'm not sure that we would interpret it that way, yes.
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out, what the interpretation is. What is it?
I'd have to ask you to give me a specific instance and make a request. I guess we'd have to make a determination.
So we don't have an answer as to when it would become a primary use then. So you guys are voting something in that you don't know when they might be, as soon as you pass this, they still might not be they still might be in violation because somebody would determine it's a primary use. That's my point. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Thais, or you want to speak to this?
Thais Gonzalez, 13090 Raymond Drive. First of all, I agree 100% with Howard Warren in this one. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that Red Barn opens at 10 a.m. in the mornings on Sundays, just for your consideration.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in, any further discussion of it? All right, I think Howard made some good points, but it's interesting because I thought when we dealt with it the first time, we were one family, we've been doing it out here for a long, long time, and we're getting approval for them. And now we're coming up with a new one. Keeps growing.
Yeah, an alternative would be to defer the code enforcement action with the ICE and to put this to the ULDC committee to look at the exact issue that I'm talking about, because he is right, and he and I talked about that exact thing. You know, there are a lot of unique things that nobody's trying to run out, but people could run afoul of code enforcement whenever anybody just decides to make a little call. So that's nowhere to live. So we should try to address the issue.
Ron?
We're addressing this issue because the Ikes were told to shut down along with a couple other people in Loxahatchee. They had a code violation against them. And Howard is right. There's a lot of other businesses in Loxahatchee. I know most of them that you said. But those businesses, for us to try and get all the businesses in Loxahatchee to come together and for us to bundle up something that will work for everybody. No, we've got a lot of things on our list right now, and we don't have the time. But hey, we settle this one project, and if whoever's on our ULDC committees, if they can come up with a game plan that would make it easy for everybody to come together, I'm all for it. But no, this needs to be taken care of now, and we need to get it off our plate.
All right. Tom?
Just, I guess to state the obvious, while we're looking to Howard to try to reduce the ULDCs, we're adding another whole chapter. So, you know, it just shows how difficult it is sometimes to get into place what it is that you really want. We all say we'd like to see less regulation, yet every time somebody comes up with an idea for more regulation, we seem to go ahead and go right along with more regulation. So we are the problem. In the end, we are the problem because we keep doing it.
Mr. Mayor, I don't think we're adding more regulation. I think we're trying to fix something that we have. And certainly we've made some progress on one item, and we fixed a problem, we fixed it to if we can use the ULDC committee to group some things together, encourage people to come forward, to package up something we do next, we do it next. But we've got something, we're trying to fix the problem. I think people are here to hear us fixing it. We're going to fix it tonight, I believe. Move on, we got other things to fix, let's bring them forward, and we'll try to fix them also.
Okay. So a motion and a second.
Just one final thing to say. You know, I think that part of the problem is that government thinks they can fix anything.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I want to say something, okay? This government will fix this one problem, okay? And Howard being on the ULDCs, I got confidence in Howard. This one problem that we solved tonight is not going to make it difficult for him. he'll figure it out, and he'll come up with a good solution.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Not because I don't want the people protected in what they're doing, but I think we need to get through the ULDC. Passes 3-2.
Okay, and then require approval for in order to be enacted on second reading, because it's a change to ULDC. So we approved it, we move on to second reading, but like we were talking about these comp plans, your charter requires that these are four in order to have it adopted. So we'll move forward for second reading on 3-2.
All right, moving on to the 7.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. 7 is a resolution setting the zoning review fees. As you may remember, last year we had our discussion about the zoning function that we inherited based upon the change in interlocal agreement that the town enacted in Palm Beach County. Council asked the management company to try to find ways for those things that we were taking on to try to recoup our costs. You may remember, a couple months back, we established a fee for the review of business tax receipts. This is a $60 zoning review fee. It relates to all the building permits that we review when Palm Beach County sends them over for zoning approval. There is a $200 fee for written zoning confirmation letter. And that's pretty much standard based upon the other municipalities that provide that. What that's doing is, that's saying that we are not necessarily guaranteeing, but we're putting it in writing, and we're putting it that whatever we're telling the person they can rely on. So there usually is research, you want to make sure you get everything right, or if it's an interpretation, sometimes that takes additional research because it's an issue not addressed in the code or something along those lines. So that is a $200 fee. There is one city that actually charges a fee like that, and then also adds that as a cost recovery fee to that, but I felt that was excessive. So if you're in agreement with this ordinance, this would give us, again, this resolution, this would allow us to move forward and to assist us in terms of recouping the fees that we incur for these reviews.
All right, motion?
I make a motion to approve
Resolution
2013.
Sorry. And
So one. Go ahead, please read it.
Resolution 2013-01, a resolution of the town council of the town of Los Angeles, Florida, authorizing and establishing certain zoning review fees, providing for conflicts that are voting effective date.
All right, Jim has made a motion. Second by Ryan. Discussion by council. I have nothing here from the public on this item. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving to 8, administrative update.
Thank you, Your Honor. I got about 5 or 6 brief things, I think. The first one now is, I wanted to make town council aware, and it is also in your agenda packet. It's in your agenda packet, starting on page 71, running through pages 98. And what that issue is, we received another affidavit for a petition for initiative. This was filed in our offices on the 7th of January at 3:25. So this, the information that's in your agenda packet gives you the names and addresses of the committee members along with the affidavits. There is one relates to ordinance 1204. And the second relates to ordinance 1205. There is a page in the back that the town attorney and I are still looking at, where it indicates about a charter number 2 regarding the requirement of voter approval of community development plans. Not really sure totally how that affects this one. But in any event, this, I guess, restarts the clock. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions. And of course, Mike, I think Mike want to chime in with you.
Well, this is the same question that was the subject of the initial petition that was filed back in November. It raises the same legal concerns that were outlined earlier. The college is aware of this petition. And I'm just reminding you, they had sent a letter, we got the initial documentation back in November outlining their concerns about the petition. So from that perspective, nothing is different today than there was when we were meeting in November, except for the town did take some action, the town council did, in adopting a resolution, putting your position on this subject matter on the record. I will update and let you know that the core issue has to do with the substance and whether it's an appropriate substance under state law for a referendum issue. We are familiar, we have discussed that there was a circuit court opinion that interpreted that statute that would permit a referendum similar to this, but different, on a different type of application moving forward. I have confirmed that the city of Boca Raton and the developer have filed an appeal on that, so there is an appeal pending with an appellate court. Any decision in that form would be binding on the town. In the absence of that, the judge's decision is binding on an interpretation of the city of Boca Raton's charter on the facts presented there. So there is a process in the code, in your charter, the time frame for signatures. We went through that before. That's the step that we're in right now, at least from the town's perspective. The committee is in that time frame to collect those signatures. At least that's the time frame that's presented to you by this petition that was filed in January.
All right, any questions?
I have a question, but I've got a comment about this subject. First of all, is there a Patrick Cavanaugh in here by chance? He couldn't make it tonight, so he's asked me to read this letter in the minutes. But before I read the letter, the petition does not bother me. What bothers me, and this letter will kind of explain where I'm coming from, what bothers me is the people that's taking this petition around, they're not being honest with everybody. I talked to a person today that he refused to sign it, but they're not telling the people that we had workshops, numerous workshops, and that this council voted 5-0 to support the college. They're not telling the people that at one time they were talking about putting 200 RV spots in that 75 acres, and those RVs would have been not ours or people in Loxahatchee, it would have been for the polo people that had their seasonal polo. And we wouldn't have made any money off of it. The owner of the RV park would have. They talked about taking that 96 acres and using it for commercial. Okay? So when this council, and I'm only speaking for myself, but when we voted 5-0, I felt like 75 acres of a state college that would benefit our kids to keep them from traveling to the closest college, which is Lake Worth, keep them off the dangerous highways, cut down on the fuel costs to the parents and stuff, that this college was the best thing that we could come up with. It'll bring our property values up, it'll bring work in the Loxahatchee, and it'll do a lot more, but there's no need to take the time for that. Let me read this letter. This was supposed to have been sent to each council member. I don't know if it was sent to the town or not. Hello, everyone. I just had an issue and a confrontation at my property that I feel all the board members should be aware of. On 14 January 2013, at 1:30 p.m., I was working in my yard. A silver SUV pulled up with a man and a woman. I approached them and they told me they wanted me to sign a petition against the building of Palm Beach State College. I told them that I was totally in agreement with the approval and the location of the college. The man was nice, and we bantered back and forth about the pros and cons of the college. I have no problem debating issues that I feel strongly about. The woman then turned very abrasively and condescending. She appears to be very uneducated about this issue, which comes to the reason for my note to all the board members. About 3 minutes into the conversation, the woman kept saying, "What board member are you related to?" And just to clarify, I don't know Mr. Cavanaugh, I don't know about the rest of the council, but but I don't know him, and he's not McKinn folks. What board member are you related to? What board member is paying you off? For the record, I do not know any of you. In other words, he didn't know any of the board members. I am totally behind the approval of the college. I feel the board has done a very nice job within the entire approval process. I just wanted all the board members to be aware of this tactic and the lies and insinuations that these two people are spreading. And I would like this read into the records, please, put into the records. But that's from Patrick Kavanaugh at 15060 25th Place North. And I'll end my comments with one thing. We've got the petition people here tonight, and I've also got petitions in the back, and I'm a fair man. If there's anybody here tonight that is against the college, then please help these people out by signing their petition. But I'd like a show of hands of anybody here that supports it.
No.
That's uncalled for.
It's a procedural thing.
Okay.
The chair.
All right. All right, I'll end with that.
Thank you. All right. Moving on with your report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The next thing that I wanted to report to the town council was the staff and the management company conducted a workshop on December 19th at the Chamber of Commerce relative to the issue of Okeechobee Road with the property owners, and also general public were invited. We did 2 ads in the town crier and the Palm Beach Post. We had a turnout of about 40 to 50 people, and the staff provided information, and they gave us their thoughts and inputs relative to the issue as it relates to the moratorium of Okeechobee Boulevard. We will be holding a second one. I wanted to get it in this month. I hope we can. We might have to move it into February, early February. That will be with the property owners of Southern Boulevard. However, the property owners of Okeechobee and the general public again will be invited to attend and also give us the input so we can move forward and draft the necessary regulations as it relates to the moratorium. The next item that I have for you is I wanted to bring to your attention is that State Representative Mark Pafford has put out a flyer.
Hold on a second, Mark. Marcia typically would be under public comments, but I'll let you go ahead and address it.
Thank you. I am one of those evil people that you're referring to that is on the committee for the petition. The petition does not say we are against the college. Does not say we are against the commercial property with the college. All it is asking the people of Loxahatchee can vote on whether they want the college or not. I am very offended that you're trying to put words in my mouth. I was not the evil person in the silver parlor, okay? And I would not force anybody to sign. But if anybody in this room would like a chance to vote on to whether they'd like the college or not, yay or nay, come see me because I have the form. Thank you.
51%, right? Only takes 51%.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not 3-2 or 4-1, depending upon the mood. So if you'd like to see me, I'm here. Thank you.
Please, we'll deal with this. My biggest problem is timing. We had a 1.5 years of meetings, and the week after they purchased the property, we come up with a petition.
Let me explain something to you about this lovely town of Loxahatchee that I have lived in for over 40 years. I used to come to meetings. I was so disgusted that I said, I'll never come to another one. Okay? And I'm dating 40 years ago, okay?